Unicorn Overlord just sold 1 million units, which is a really big success for this kind of game. Much praise going to Atlas and Vanillaware, who put out like an absolute banger, one of the year's best. It was kind of disappointing, not gonna lie. It wasn't on the same level of quality as a Nintendo developed strategy RPG like Fire Emblem or something like Advance Wars or any of these other like numerous strategy games that Nintendo puts out, right? But Unicorn Overlord was very special for what it for what it was, right? I really enjoyed it, especially the artwork and the gameplay. Like, it was one of the year's best titles for sure. If you haven't checked it out yet, please check it out on console. Now, I've said before that like I talked about before about how the Nintendo Switch version of Unicorn Overlord was by far the best selling, right? The Xbox version bombed and the PlayStation version didn't do as well, right? This is an observable thing, right? The Nintendo Switch version is the most popular version of the game. And yet, I did not realize this until I saw someone complain about it. But Unicorn Overlord is still, to this day, not available on PC. Ooh, one of the best games of the year, right? The best strategy game released from a third-party developer in years, right? From Vanillaware, the legendary, iconic Japanese studio who created classics like 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim and Grim Grimoire, right? Vanillaware, right? Amazing anime aesthetics, great storylines, amazing gameplay, a truly unique, compelling style that is not and never will be available on gaming PCs. You will never get to experience the adventures of Elaine and his waifu Leia as they journey throughout the land, conquering the Zenorian Empire, right? They meet furries, they frolic with elves, right? They take back the land of where the cousin wife is hiding, right? They do all of this stuff on consoles only, right? No PC version. There never will be a PC version, right? Vanillaware has been very clear about this, that it isn't going to happen. And yeah, this is another example of what I mean when I say that PC gaming is not competitive with Nintendo consoles. Because this is an instance in which a third-party developed game, much like Bayonetta 3, comes out and on Nintendo consoles, succeeds on Nintendo consoles, and the PC master race is left jacking off to Rule 34, right? Instead of actually playing the game. That is the current state of the PC master race, right? They're watching this video, watching me point this out, instead of actually playing games on their gaming PC. Because they don't have anything to play. Like, what has come out this year? Space Marine 2? Like, oh yeah, just go forward and shoot some Tyranids. Yeah, that's so great. Oh, so hardcore. Oh, you're such a man for playing Space Marine 2. Like, Final Fantasy 16 completely failed on PC, and it's a late release anyway. It launched last year on PS5, right? Is it a PS5 game? I have no idea. Final Fantasy 14. Oh, but that's an MMO. That's a genre that excels on PC. Yeah, the worst expansion we've ever gotten. Like, even shills like Pro Jared were disgusted with how bad the new expansion for Final Fantasy 14 was, right? And this is not like, these are not isolated instances, right? Like, every game that comes out, whether it's Black Myth Wukong or Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8 or Dragon's Dogma 2, like they all just immediately flop on PC, right? Nobody is buying these games on PC. Like, you can actually go on Steam right now and check the bestsellers list, and it's always some like weird gotcha, like some nonsense like anime like thing, right? It's never anything substantial. It's never anything high quality. Meanwhile, you can look at the bestseller list on Nintendo Switch Online, and you're constantly bombarded with like Zelda games, Mario games, right? Fire Emblem games, right? Like all these absolute bangers of releases that are only available on Nintendo Switch. Anybody who says that like, oh, I can just pirate that is completely off base and completely delusional. Like, good luck emulating WarioWare Move It without those motion controls. Good like playing like Nintendo Switch Sports or Splatoon 3 with all those regular updates that are coming out. Right? Again, the cope that the PC Master Race had, like, oh, I can just pirate that. That's the fact that you have to like pirate software in order to like play the games that people actually like and are enjoying. That's pretty sad, right? And again, it's not like you're going to get an official release ever. So why don't you just man up, buy a console, and play some real video games? And we all know why they won't do it. We all know why it'll never happen because these guys aren't real gamers. If they were, they wouldn't be hyping up Elden Ring, right? They wouldn't be hyping up like Space Marine 2. They wouldn't have tried pretending that like Astrobot is the greatest platformer ever, right? Like again, Pow World, right? How many PC gamers 100% co-signed Pow World because they delusionally believed that doing so would somehow get Pokemon to release on PC, right? Again, it's not going to happen. And I think with every passing year, like more and more people are starting to notice the stereotypes about PC gamers, about how weird they are, about how degenerate they are, disgusting they are. You're talking about lolicons, YouTube streamers, VTubers, right? The absolute scum of the earth, right? Who in their right mind looks at Oh No, It's Alex, with his shirt on, with his shirt off, in his underwear, like prancing around his office? Like, who looks at that guy and just goes like, "Oh man, PC gaming looks awesome," right? Like, "Oh man, these PC gamers, they're so cool, they're so funny, right? They have such insightful things to say about what some other PC gamer said on YouTube." Like, who cares? Okay, like again, we keep seeing this happen over and over and over again, where the PC gamer conveniently ignores all of the great games on console in order to push this narrative that somehow some mid like slop like shovelware product like Baldur's Gate 3, something that wouldn't have been out of place at some like discount bargain bin in Target in 2004. Like, they really try and tell you that this niche product made for wokester D&D players, right? They really do believe that that game is one of the best ever made. And I've seen people try to say that. I've seen people push that narrative like, "Oh, I've played this 100-hour CRPG 5 times in the past year." Like 500 hours of Baldur's Gate? Like, really? I look at like claims like that and I just roll my eyes at it. Like, really? Really? Like, you play the game that much and you don't pick up on any problems with it at all. You don't get bored of it. You don't play something else. No, it's the greatest thing ever, bro. Like, I remember when you said the same thing about Skyrim. Okay. I remember when you said the same thing about Mass Effect and like COD. Like, again, I have a very low opinion of the general audience's stance on these kind of things, right? Because I know perfectly well that the general audience will just consume slop, right? Again, this is a good reason. The reason why PC gaming has an audience among YouTubers and only YouTubers is because those individuals only consume slop. They only care about waking up in the pigsty every day, rolling in the mud, and then like getting up and then just going to the trough and then just shoveling down all the DEI Western propaganda infested like games that like farmer Gabe Newell just dumped in there that day, right? Like, it doesn't matter whether it's like a 20-year-old console port or some like broken modern indie game. Like, the audience is going to eat this slop no matter what. And it's really because they have nothing else. That's really what it comes down to. Like, again, I started this video by emphasizing that as much as I love Unicorn Overlord, as much as I think it's one of the game's best games of the year, that's really not saying much because this year was not that impressive to begin with, right? Unicorn Overlord was great, but I will be the first to tell you Fire Emblem Engage was better. Fire Emblem Three Houses was better, right? And those games also are never, ever, ever coming to PC. And they're not the only ones. At the end of the day, the PC Master Race simply is a facade, right? It is a group of people coping about how they're superior than console people because I don't even know, because they just are. Like, right? Like they don't play games, they don't enjoy games, they don't talk about games, right? All they do is make YouTube videos reacted to what other people say on YouTube.